Welcome to another Pastor's Chat with Coley and Tonks. You might notice we've got someone different with us today though. Our senior minister, Tonks, the senior pastor, he is off doing pastor stuff this week. Sometimes you get quite full with many different ministry things, and he's actually got a couple funerals that he's got to sort out this week. So even though that's as unfortunate as that is, we've got a pro of having his son here, and I'm going to interview his son. And his son is the children's ministry intern at this church, so he works here a day a week, and it's great having him in, usually on a Tuesday, and we're going to talk a bit about him and his role and what it's like being the son of our pastor.
Awesome.
So can you tell us, Josh, what is it you do in your role as the children's ministry intern?
So I work one day a week here at the church. I focus primarily on the kids stuff. I run Adventure Sunday, run Adventure Club. Awesome. Lately we've been doing a lot of planning, filming. I'm usually behind the camera, so it's weird to be on this side of the camera today, but yeah, I have fun. I really enjoy my role and get to work with kids. It's awesome.
Fantastic, that's great. And you work at a school as well during the week, don't you?
Yeah, I do. So I'm the chaplain at Denton Public School. I work there Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Hang out with the kids. It's a good job. I really enjoy it. Make a difference over there. It can be hard, as you would know, but yeah, really rewarding job.
You know, he does a great job there. I was to see him a bit there last year when I was working there, and he does a fantastic job with the kids. So that's awesome. So I want to know, what caused you to feel called into children's ministry? Why children's ministry where you've ended?
I've always liked being with kids. I think kids are at that fun age where everything you do is fun, and they don't have the annoying attitude that teenagers get, where things aren't fun and they're too cool for everything kind of. But I remember we went to a Kid Shaper conference in 2016, and I still remember at that conference there was a person talking, and I just felt at that point where I wanted to do something with kids. I didn't know what that looked like at the time, but now here 4 years later, I've got two jobs, both working with kids, and
that's right.
I really remember, that time. I knew that that's what I had to do or wanted to do.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when afterwards we were talking about it, and you were a youth leader at the time, and I was really surprised you wanted to work with kids. I was like, oh, wow. Surprised in the sense that you chose kids over teenagers, because which ones to work with and serve in. But seeing you work in it, you just do a fantastic job. So it's good fun. There's never a dull moment there, is there?
No, it's always exciting.
Yeah. So can you tell me as well then, what do you want to see in the children's ministry going forward? So Mildura Church of Christ is where you base your kids' work. What's your goals and vision for that ministry?
So for kids, I think the biggest aim for me is just to try and reach as many kids as possible, to spread the word of God throughout the community, get as many kids in here as possible, and then when they are here, be able to deliver an effective program so that by the time that they're finished here, that they do know who God is and want to follow God. So I think it'd be a bit of a waste if we got so many kids in the building, but they left the same kind of person, or also a waste if we got some kids and focus too much on that and we just never end up reaching enough people. So I think get as many people in here as we can and to deliver them an effective ministry.
Fantastic. That sounds really good. So we're looking at two sides today. I wanted to ask him a bit about his role at the church and what he does and why he does kids ministry. But you were also, and it's almost a term that gets thrown around at church a little bit, but you're a pastor's kid.
Yeah.
Or a PK.
PK.
And you've been a pastor's kid your whole life.
Yes, I have.
So I want to know, can you tell us what's it like being a pastor's kid? And what are the pros and what are the cons? And what have you liked about it and what's maybe been a challenge being a pastor's kid?
Being a pastor kid for me is possibly a bit different to a lot of people. So for me, I've always been a pastor's kid, so that's the only life I've really known. I don't know what it's like to not be a pastor's kid compared to being a pastor's kid. But I guess through that, there are definitely good things about being a pastor's kid, and there's definitely some things that are a bit different to being a pastor's kid. I think being a pastor's kid, I'd probably say that compared to most people, I've probably had one of the better Christian examples set for me through my parents.
That's great.
Obviously, I spent so much time around the church with Dad, leading a lot of things, and just being at home with the amount of, the witness that I've had has pretty much paved the way for my being a Christian, and it's been awesome.
It's great.
And even like I said, just the amount of time I've spent around the church, like even from a really young kid, through going to youth camps with Dad when I was like 1, 2, all the way up to whenever I could go myself. I'd always been around it and stuff. But on the other side, I guess being a pastor's kid kind of sucks that it seems that just about every embarrassing thing you ever do as a child, the entire church finds out sometime on a Sunday.
Breaks into an illustration.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think there's much of my life that's hidden away and I can keep away because whatever I do that's embarrassing, funny, everyone already knows. So most people probably know just about as much of my life as I do.
Do you know before he tells one of these stories?
I don't, especially when you're a kid and you spend most of the morning out at kids club and then you come in and everyone's telling you, oh, that was such a funny story. And you're thinking, oh, hang on, now what do everyone know? But that's one thing. Also, when I was a kid, I was a bit rebellious. I liked to misbehave and muck up. So it was often when I came to church, you kind of had that extra expectation to behave. I struggled with that with a little bit, but not so much anymore. But another thing that kind of works both ways, I always remember as a kid when someone would ask me, what does your dad do? That would kind of always come up as a bit of a pro and a con. A con in the sense of sometimes it could be a bit embarrassing to say, oh, dad's a pastor, because you know where that conversation was going and you always were feared that people would laugh at you. But then on the other side, it was a pro because I had to answer honestly and it kind of gave me that straight up chance to tell people, especially my friends, dad's a pastor, which means I go to church and often they would think, oh, that's really cool. And
That's awesome. Now, did you ever get stuck at church for a long time because your dad just wouldn't stop talking to people?
Yeah, as most people know, dad's a very social person, so getting home before lunch was often rare as a child. So
did he ever leave you at church?
No, I don't think I ever got left at church. Chloe was left at church.
I was there when I was locking up when Chloe got left at church, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And that each parent thought they were the other. But yeah. Last one, how did being a PK affect your faith journey, do you think?
I think it affected it in a positive way. Like I said, I had an awesome witness growing up. I could see what it was like to be a Christian through my parents. I don't think it ever forced me to be a Christian. I think I always had the chance to make my own mind up with that. And from the example I was set, I think it was pretty easy to make that decision. Definitely had the chance to work it out all for myself, but yeah, I think it affected me positively. I don't know what it would have been like if I had non-Christian parents. So
that's fantastic. So one more, sorry. What are you most looking forward to in the future of your ministry, whether it be chaplaincy or at church?
So probably success. Seeing as many kids as possible in the building, seeing the kids. My biggest goal is to see the kids I lead now eventually become the leaders of the next generation. I just think that would be such a blessing and awesome to see the kids now eventually be me. I don't want to be doing this job forever. I think I'd be silly if I did. So to see those people who are younger now really take that step forward, and if they were to do that, I guess I could see that I've done a good job in being able to do that. If in 20 years none of the kids now are in church, I would probably question what I did as a
leader. No, that's great. That's great. So I got one more for the question of the week. We're actually going to play a bit of this or that we did last week.
I'll put my thinking cap on.
So I'm going to fire a few rapid fire questions at you, and this will just help us get to know our children's ministry intern a little bit better. So I've got a few here for you, and we'll see how you go with them.
Perfect.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
I'm going to fire these out so you don't get much time to think. Day or night?
Day.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Book or movie?
Movie, definitely. I hate books.
Hate books?
Hate books.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke. Pepsi's awful.
Comedy or horror?
Oh, that's a hard one for me. Most people, if you know me well, you know I'm a big horror movie fan. I have a big collection. I'd go horror, but you can't go wrong with a good comedy.
So you'd love the horror comedies, those mixed ones.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Milk or juice?
I'd probably go juice, but I'm one of those weird people that drink milk by themselves.
Just by itself?
Yep, I love milk. Straight out of the carton. Oh,
there you go. I don't mind doing that. Just don't tell my wife. She hates it when I drink it out of there. Macca's or KFC?
Dirty Bird.
Good choice.
Always KFC.
Good choice. Breakfast or dinner?
I'd be a dinner. I wasn't always a breakfast man, but I've really been trying every day to have breakfast, but definitely dinner.
Okay.
Nothing beats a good steak. Can't have steak for breakfast.
Ooh, you'll have another question coming up soon then. Ooh. Being too hot or being too cold?
Being too hot. I was born in Tassie, so I think I've got that cold blood in me, and yeah, I don't really feel the cold as much.
There you go. Online shopping or in-store shopping?
In-store shopping. Yeah. I do like the sense of online shopping, but you just never know what you're going to get.
It's true. I just hate trying things on.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Well, steak or chicken?
Oh, chicken is my favourite food, but nothing beats a good steak, does it? If you go out to a restaurant, it's hard to not choose the steak.
Yeah. Unless there's chicken parma on the menu.
Oh, chicken parma.
Yeah. Should say steak or chicken parma.
Yeah, or chicken parma.
Yeah,
easy.
Hard to go past. Well, thanks for joining us for a special edition of Pastors Chat. We hope you have a great week, continuing a great job in the ministry. One last little thing.
Yep.
I'm giving you a chance to challenge your dad here.
Oh, all right.
On our couple of Sunday services lately, your dad has had to make a cake, and you've really got the brunt of that. Like, you've had to eat gross things. You had your mouth full of flour just this last week.
That egg.
Yep.
Oh.
I want to know, would you be willing to cook something in a kids segment and your dad has to eat it?
I possibly would. I haven't risked death yet, but Dad would be putting his life on the line.
Would you be up for that? I reckon for the next kids' story, you cook something and he has to eat it.
I mean, it sounds like it's a goer.
Is that a challenge?
Yep,
Is that a challenge? You go challenge him down the camera?
Definitely. Yep.
Excellent.
I challenge you, Dad, to try and eat something I make.
There you go. We've got another great kids' story coming up soon then, and we'll make sure there's a great lesson tied into that. But thanks for joining us with another Pastors Chat, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you.